My name is Daniela Reyes. I'm 29 years old. And I spent the last Thanksgiving I will ever spend with my family sleeping in my 2012 Honda Civic in a parking lot behind a CVS. The turkey was still in my teeth. My mother's last words to me were still ringing in my ears. My father had just locked the front door, with me on the outside. For what? For telling the truth. For showing them the bank statement. For proving that my older brother, the golden child, the one they paid for, the one they protected, had been stealing from them for years. And they didn't believe me. Or maybe they did. Maybe they just didn't care. Because believing me would mean admitting they had raised a thief. And that was easier to ignore than to face. So they threw me out. On Thanksgiving. In the rain. With nowhere to go. Before I tell you what happened next. Before I tell you about the phone call at 6 a.m. that made my mother's voice crack and my father's knees buckle. I need you to do something. Hit like if you've ever been the one who told the truth and got punished for it. Subscribe if you believe that karma doesn't forget. And drop a comment with your location and local time. I want to know where you are right now. Let me take you back. To Bakersfield, California. 2019. A yellow house on Cedar Street with a porch swing that squeaked and a family that looked perfect from the outside. The Reyes family. That's what my mother called us. The Reyes family. Like we were a brand. Like we were selling something. My father, Hector Reyes, worked construction. My mother, Carmen, was a receptionist at a chiropractor's office. We weren't rich. But we looked rich. That was more important to my mother than actually being rich. My older brother, Marco, was 26. He had a degree in marketing that my parents paid for. He had a job at a car dealership that he was about to lose. He had a drinking problem that no one talked about. And he had a secret. I found the secret in September. 3 months before Thanksgiving. I was helping my mother organize her paperwork. Tax stuff. Bills. Bank statements. She wasn't organized. She never was. That was my job. The daughter's job. The one who didn't get a degree because we can't afford it right now, Daniela. Maybe next year. Next year never came. I was sorting through a pile of statements from Wells Fargo. And I saw something that didn't make sense. A withdrawal. $3,000. Then another. $2,500. Then another. $4,000. All from my parents' savings account. All made at ATMs in cities where my parents didn't live. I stared at the dates. July, August, September. I thought about where Marco was those months. He had been traveling for work. He had been stressed about money. He had been borrowing from me too. $20 here. $50 there. He never paid me back either. I didn't say anything at first. I told myself I was wrong. I told myself there was an explanation. I told myself that Marco was my brother, and I loved him, and I shouldn't jump to conclusions. But I made a copy of the statements. I put them in a folder. And I waited. October came. My mother mentioned that their savings account was lighter than usual. My father blamed the roof repair. My mother blamed the car. I said nothing. November came. Thanksgiving week. My mother was planning a big dinner. She was excited. She was proud. She was going to show off her family to her sister, my tia Rosa, who was driving down from Fresno. I decided to tell them on Thanksgiving. I know. Bad timing. But I really thought, that if I showed them the evidence in front of tia Rosa, in front of witnesses, they would have to believe me. They would have to see Marco for who he was. I was wrong. Dinner was at 4 p.m. The table was set with the good china. The one my mother got from her mother. The one we only use twice a year. Turkey. Mashed potatoes. Green beans. Rolls. A pie that my mother spent 3 hours on. Everyone was there. My father. My mother. Marco. Tia Rosa. My younger brother, Luis, who was 17 and didn't care about anything except his guitar. My abuela, who was 82 and didn't hear much anymore. I sat at the end of the table. The end. Not the head. The end. Where I always sat. We ate. We talked. My mother told a story about a patient at the chiropractor's office. My father complained about a job site. Marco talked about a big deal. He was about to close at the dealership. No one asked about me. No one ever asked about me. Then tia Rosa asked about my job. I worked at a call center. Customer service. I hated it. You're still there? Tia Rosa asked. I thought you were going back to school. I looked at my mother. She looked at her plate. We can't afford it right now, my mother said. Maybe next year. Didn't you have a savings account for her? Tia Rosa asked. I remember Carmen talking about it. Years ago. My mother's fork stopped midair. We did. But times are hard. Times are hard for everyone, Tia Rosa said. But you sent Marco to school. For years. Paid in full. My mother's face tightened. My father shifted in his seat. Marco looked at his phone. That was different, my mother said. How? I asked. Everyone looked at me. How was it different, Mom? How was Marco's education more important than mine? Daniela, not now. No. I want to know. I've been waiting 10 years to know. Why did Marco get everything? Why did I get nothing? Why am I still at a call center while he's out there pretending to be a businessman with a degree he doesn't even use? Marco put down his phone. What's your problem? You're my problem. You and your secret. The table went quiet. Even my abuela stopped chewing. What secret? My father asked. I pulled out the folder. The one with the bank statements. I opened it. I laid it on the table. Mom, Dad, Marco has been stealing from your savings account. $3,000 here. $4,000 there. Almost $15,000 since July. My mother grabbed the papers. She stared at them. Her face went pale. That's not possible, she whispered. It's right there. Your account number. His withdrawals. The ATMs were in Fresno and Modesto. Where was Marco in July? In Fresno. For work. Marco stood up. His chair scraped against the floor. You went through my things? I went through Mom's things. Helping her organize. Like I always do. While you're out there spending their retirement. I didn't steal anything. Then explain the withdrawals. He couldn't. He opened his mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. Mom, she's lying. She's always been jealous of me. My mother looked at me. Then at Marco. Then at the papers. Daniela, why would you bring this up today? On Thanksgiving? In front of everyone. Because I'm tired of pretending. I'm tired of being invisible. I'm tired of watching you sacrifice me for him. We didn't sacrifice you. Then what did you do, Mom? What did you do for me? Tell me one thing. One thing you did for me that you didn't do for him. She couldn't answer. My father stood up. That's enough, Daniela. Apologize to your mother. For what? For telling the truth. For ruining Thanksgiving. For embarrassing this family in front of your aunt. For accusing your brother without proof. The proof is right there, Dad. On the table. He looked at the papers. He looked at Marco. He looked at my mother. And then he made his choice. Get out. What? Get out of this house. Now. Dad, I didn't do anything. You heard me. Get out. I looked at my mother. She wouldn't look at me. She was staring at the tablecloth. Tia Rosa opened her mouth to speak. My father held up his hand. This is none of your business, Rosa. I stood up. I walked to the door. I didn't run. I didn't cry. I walked. My father followed me. He opened the front door. He held it open. Don't come back until you're ready to apologize. I have nothing to apologize for. Then don't come back. He closed the door. I heard the lock turn. It was raining. Cold November rain. I didn't have a jacket. I didn't have my purse. I had my phone and the clothes I was wearing. I walked to my car. I got in. I sat in the driver's seat and watched the lights in my parents' house flicker through the rain. They were still eating. I could see them through the window. My mother was crying. My father was holding her. Marco was on his phone. Tia Rosa was looking out the window, looking at me. She didn't come outside. I started the car. I drove to the CVS parking lot. I parked under a light. I turned off the engine. And I spent Thanksgiving night in my Honda Civic, eating a granola bar I found in the glove compartment, watching the rain, waiting for morning. I slept in my car for 3 nights. Not because I had nowhere else to go. Because I needed to feel the cold. I needed to remember it. I needed to carve it into my bones so I would never forget what my family did to me on Thanksgiving. The first night, I cried until I had nothing left. The second night, I was too numb to cry. The third night, I stopped feeling sorry for myself and started making a plan. Tia Rosa called me on the 4th day. Daniela, where are you? In my car. Behind a CVS. Dios mío. Come to Fresno. I have a couch. Stay as long as you need. What about my parents? Your parents made their choice. Now you make yours. I drove to Fresno that afternoon. 2 hours. Rain the whole way. My windshield wipers were broken, so I drove slow, leaning forward, squinting through the streaks. Tia Rosa lived in a small apartment near the fairgrounds. She was my mother's younger sister. 57 years old. Never married. No kids. She worked as a nurse's aide and spent her free time gardening on a balcony that barely fit 2 chairs. She didn't ask questions. She didn't say, "I told you so." She just made me soup and pointed to the couch. You can stay a week. Or a month. Or a year. But you can't stay forever. You need to figure out what you're going to do with your life. I know. Good. Because you're not your brother. You're not going to wait for someone to save you. She was right. I had been waiting my whole life. Waiting for my parents to see me. Waiting for them to choose me. Waiting for them to apologize. They never did. And they never would. I found a job within 2 weeks. Not a good job. A job. Waiting tables at a diner off the highway. The kind of place where the coffee was always stale. And the tips were always small. But it was money. And money meant freedom. I rented a room in a shared house. For other girls. 2 bathrooms. A kitchen that was always dirty. But it had a lock on my door and a bed that wasn't a couch. I didn't tell my family where I was. I didn't call. I didn't text. My mother sent me messages for the first few weeks. Daniela, come home. We can talk about this. Your father didn't mean what he said. Marco is going through a hard time. You need to be understanding. Understanding. I needed to be understanding. The same way I had been understanding for 29 years. The same way I had been understanding when they paid for Marco's school and told me to wait. The same way I had been understanding when they bought him a car and gave me their old one with the broken windshield wipers. I didn't respond to any of the messages. After a month, they stopped coming. 6 months passed. I worked at the diner. I saved every dollar I could. I learned to live on less than I thought possible. Rice and beans. No eating out. No new clothes. No anything that wasn't absolutely necessary. I started taking online classes at Fresno City College. Business administration. 1 class at a time. Slow. But moving. Always moving. Tia Rosa was my cheerleader. You're smarter than all of them, she said. You always were. They just didn't want to see it. Why didn't they want to see it? Because if they saw you, they would have to admit they failed you. And your mother can't admit she failed at anything. Especially not her children. That was the thing about my mother. She wasn't evil. She was scared. Scared of being wrong. Scared of looking bad. Scared of admitting that her golden child was made of tin. So she chose the lie. She chose Marco. She chose the comfortable story over the painful truth. And I paid the price. The second year was harder. Not because life was bad. Because life was lonely. I miss my family. Not the family I had. The family I wished I had. The one where my mother asked about my day. The one where my father was proud of me. The one where Marco was a brother, not a parasite. I missed my abuela. She was 84 now. Her memory was worse. She probably didn't even know I was gone. I missed Luis. My little brother. He was 18. Graduating high school. I wasn't invited to the graduation. I saw photos on Facebook. My mother posted them. Marco with his arm around Luis. My father shaking Luis's hand. My mother crying happy tears. No one mentioned me. No one asked where I was. The caption said, "So proud of my son." My son. Singular. I stopped looking at Facebook after that. Then came the phone call. March 12th. 2 years and 4 months after Thanksgiving. I was at work. The diner. Serving pancakes to a truck driver who didn't tip. My phone buzzed. A number I didn't recognize. Fresno area code. Hello. Daniela? It's your mother. I almost dropped the phone. Her voice was different. Thinner. Older. Like she had aged 10 years in the 2 since I'd heard it. Mom, don't hang up. Please. I'm at work. I don't have time for. Your father is in the hospital. The diner went quiet. Not really. The truck driver was still chewing. The cook was still yelling at the dishwasher. But in my head, everything stopped. What happened? Heart attack. Last night. He's in the ICU at St. Agnes. Is he? He's alive. But it's bad, Daniela. The doctor said his arteries are blocked. He needs surgery. And he's been asking for you. Asking for me? He won't say it. But I can see it. He regrets what happened. He regrets a lot of things. I leaned against the wall. The receiver felt heavy in my hand. Where's Marco? Silence. Mom. Where's Marco? He's not here. What do you mean he's not here? Your son is in the ICU and Marco isn't there. He's going through some things. He can't make it right now. Going through what? What could possibly be more important than Dad being in the hospital? More silence. Mom. Tell me. Marco was arrested. 3 weeks ago. Embezzlement. From the dealership. He's out on bail, but he can't leave the county. And he's not in a good place. I closed my eyes. He stole from his job? He made some mistakes. He stole from his job, Mom. Just like he stole from you. Just like he stole from me. And you're still protecting him. I'm not protecting anyone. I'm telling you what happened. You're telling me what happened to Marco. You haven't asked me a single question about my life. Not one. You don't know where I live. You don't know what I do. You don't know that I'm taking classes. You don't know anything about me because you've never asked. She started crying. Softly. The way she cried at the Thanksgiving table. I know I failed you. But your father is in the hospital, Daniela. He could die. And he needs to see you. He should have thought about that before he locked me out in the rain. Daniela. I'll come. Not for you. Not for Marco. For Dad. But I'm not staying. And I'm not pretending that nothing happened. That's fine. Just come. She gave me the room number. I hung up. I told my manager I had a family emergency. He didn't ask questions. He just told me to go. I drove to St. Agnes in silence. No radio. No soats. Just the hum of the engine and the beat of my own heart. I hadn't seen my father in over 2 years. I hadn't spoken to him since he closed the door in my face. Now he was in a hospital bed. And I was walking through the doors. The ICU was quiet. The kind of quiet that feels loud. Beeping machines. Hushed voices. The smell of antiseptic and fear. My mother was sitting in a plastic chair outside the room. She looked small. Her hair was gray. Not dyed black anymore. Her hands were shaking. She stood up when she saw me. Daniela. Mom. She reached for me. I let her hug me. I didn't hug back. I just stood there, arms at my sides, letting her hold on to me like I was a life raft. He's in there, she said, pulling back. He's sedated. But he wakes up sometimes. He asks for you. What does he say? He says your name. That's all. Just Daniela. I walked to the door. I pushed it open. My father was lying in a bed surrounded by machines. Tubes in his arms. A ventilator helping him breathe. His face was pale. His hands were still. He looked old. Older than 63. He looked like a man who had carried too much weight for too long. I sat down in the chair next to his bed. I took his hand. It was warm. Calloused from years of construction work. I'm here, Dad. His eyelids fluttered. He turned his head slightly. His lips moved. Daniela. I'm here. I'm sorry. 2 words. That's all. But they were the first 2 words he had ever said to me that sounded like they cost him something. I didn't say it's okay. Because it wasn't okay. It would never be okay. But I didn't let go of his hand. The first night in the hospital, I didn't sleep. I sat in that plastic chair next to my father's bed, holding his hand, watching the numbers on the monitors go up and down. Up and down. The rhythm of a man who was still fighting. Still here. Still mine even after everything. My mother brought me coffee at 2 a.m. Not because she was being kind. Because she couldn't sleep either. She was staying in the waiting room. She said she needed space. I knew what that meant. She needed distance from the guilt. You should go home, she said, handing me a styrofoam cup. Get some rest. I'll stay with him. No. Daniela, you've been here for 12 hours. I said no. She didn't push. She hadn't learned how to push me anymore. I wasn't the same daughter who folded at every request. That daughter died in a CVS parking lot on Thanksgiving night. She sat down in the chair across from me. The room was small, just big enough for the bed, the machines, and 2 chairs. The walls were beige. The floor was gray linoleum. A clock ticked on the wall. 2:14 a.m. The doctor says they're doing the surgery tomorrow morning. 7 Uhr morgens. What are the risks? He said, with your father's age and his history of high blood pressure, there's a 15% chance he doesn't wake up. She said it flat, like she was reading a weather report, but her hands were shaking. The coffee sloshed against the rim of the cup. 15% isn't nothing. I know. Does Marco know? She flinched. Just a little. A tiny muscle in her jaw. I told him. And he said he'd come if he could. He can come. He's on bail, Mom. He's not in prison. He can get in a car and drive here. It's 2 hours from Bakersfield. He's not doing well, Daniela. He's lost a lot of weight. He's not sleeping. He's been drinking. And that's my problem? Because I'm the one sitting here? I'm the one holding Dad's hand? I'm the one who drove 2 hours in the rain while Marco is probably passed out on someone's couch. I'm not saying it's your problem. I'm saying he's struggling. We're all struggling, Mom. I've been struggling for 10 years. Did you ever sit in a hospital room holding my hand? Did you ever worry about me when I was sleeping in my car? Did you ever once ask yourself where I was or if I was okay? She didn't answer. She just stared at the floor. I didn't think so. The morning of the surgery, the waiting room was full. Not with my family. With other families. Strangers holding hands, crying, praying, waiting. The fluorescent lights made everyone look sick. The coffee from the vending machine tasted like burnt plastic. My mother was sitting in the corner, clutching a rosary. Her lips were moving. Praying. I didn't know if she was praying for my father to live or praying for forgiveness. Maybe both. My father's sister, Tia Rosa, showed up at 6:30 a.m. She had driven through the night from Fresno. She hugged me first. Then she hugged my mother. A short hug. The kind you give someone you're still angry at but too tired to fight with. Any word? She asked. They took him back at 7. The doctor said the surgery will take 4 to 5 hours. And Marco? My mother looked away. He's not coming. Tia Rosa made a sound. Not a word. Just a sound. Disgust. Disappointment. The kind of sound my mother used to make when I brought home a B instead of an A. Of course he's not, Tia Rosa said. Why would he start showing up now? Rosa, please. Not now. When, Carmen? When is the right time to talk about the fact that your son is a thief and a coward and a disappointment? He turned his head slowly. His eyes found mine. He couldn't talk because of the tube, but he squeezed my hand. Once. Twice. 3 times. I'm sorry. I love you. Thank you. Or maybe I was imagining it. Maybe he was just squeezing because he didn't have anything else to hold on to. But I squeezed back. You're going to be okay, I said. The doctor said you're going to be okay. So you have to wake up. You have to get better. Because we have things to talk about. And I'm not going to let you off the hook just because you almost died. His eyes crinkled. Almost a smile. Almost. The next few days were a blur. My father was moved to a regular room. The tube came out. He could talk. Whisper really. His voice was hoarse, like he had been screaming in a dream. He asked for water. He asked for my mother. He asked for the TV remote. He didn't ask for Marco. Not once. On the 3rd day, my mother finally asked him about it. Hector, don't you want me to call Marco? Tell him you're okay. My father looked at her. Then at me. Then back at her. No. But he's your son. I know who he is, Carmen. I've always known. I just didn't want to see it. My mother's face crumpled. What do you mean you've always known? The money. From the savings account. I knew it was Marco. I knew it from the first withdrawal. The room went very quiet. The only sound was the beeping of the heart monitor and the hum of the air conditioning. You knew. My mother's voice was barely a whisper. I didn't want to believe it. So I told myself it was a mistake. I told myself the bank made an error. I told myself anything except the truth. And you didn't say anything? You didn't tell me? What would I have said? That our son was stealing from us? That we raised a thief? You would have defended him. You always defend him. My mother sat down on the edge of the bed. She looked like she had been hit by something heavy. I defended him because you never did. Someone had to. There's a difference between defending and enabling, Carmen. You enabled him. Every time you paid his rent. Every time you bailed him out. Every time you blamed Daniela for not being supportive enough. You didn't protect Marco. You made him worse. That's not fair. Life isn't fair. We're learning that now. In a hospital room. With our daughter sitting in the corner, watching us finally tell the truth. I was sitting in the corner. Exactly where my mother used to put me. But this time, I wasn't invisible. This time, they were looking at me. Both of them. Daniela. My father said. I owe you an apology. A real one. Not the one I whispered when I was half dead. A real one. I'm listening. I was wrong. The night I kicked you out. I was wrong. I knew you were telling the truth. I knew Marco took the money. But I was angry. Not at you. At myself. For not seeing it sooner. For letting it happen. And I took it out on you because you were the one who made me see it. That's not an apology, Dad. That's an explanation. He nodded. You're right. Here's the apology. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I chose him over you. I'm sorry I locked the door. I'm sorry I didn't call you the next day. Or the day after. Or any of the days after that. I'm sorry I let my pride get in the way of being your father. I'm sorry I wasn't there when you needed me. And I'm sorry that it took me almost dying to say any of this. I didn't cry. I had cried enough in the CVS parking lot. I was done crying for people who didn't cry for me. But I nodded. Thank you, Dad. That's a start. Is there anything I can do to make it right? Yes. When you get out of here, you're going to help me finish school. Not with money. With your time. With your presence. You're going to show up. You're going to ask about my life. You're going to be a father. Not a warden. Not a judge. A father. I can do that. We'll see. My mother didn't apologize. Not that day. Not the next day. Not the day after that. She sat in the hospital room. She held my father's hand. She made phone calls to relatives. She ordered food from the cafeteria. She did everything except say the words I needed to hear. On the 5th day, I confronted her. We were in the hallway. Visiting hours were almost over. My father was sleeping. The nurses were doing their rounds. The hallway was empty except for us. Mom, we need to talk. About what? About the fact that you haven't apologized to me. Not once. Not at Thanksgiving. Not in the 2 years since. Not even when Dad almost died. She looked at the floor. I don't know what you want me to say. I want you to say I'm sorry, Daniela. I was wrong. I should have believed you. I should have protected you. I should have chosen you. That's what I want you to say. You think it's that easy? I think it's that honest. And I think you've spent your whole life avoiding honesty because it's uncomfortable. But I'm done protecting you from your own discomfort. She was quiet for a long time. The clock on the wall ticked. A nurse walked by with a tray of food. The elevator dinged. I'm sorry, she said. I'm sorry I didn't believe you. I'm sorry I chose Marco. I'm sorry I made you feel invisible. I'm sorry I didn't fight for you. I'm sorry I didn't call. I'm sorry I didn't visit. I'm sorry I didn't ask about your life. I'm sorry I was a bad mother. She said it all in a rush. Like she was afraid she would lose her nerve if she stopped. Thank you, Mom. Is that enough? It's a start. But it's not the end. You don't get to say sorry once and have everything be fine. You have to show me. With your actions. With your time. With your choices. Just like Dad. I can do that. We'll see. The next day, my mother did something I didn't expect. She called Marco. On speakerphone. With me in the room. Marco, your father is awake. He's going to be okay. That's good, he said. His voice was slurred. He had been drinking. It was 10 a.m. Marco, are you drunk? I've fine, Mom. You're not fine. You're never fine. And I'm done pretending you are. Silence on the line. Mom, what are you talking about? I'm talking about the money you stole. From us. From your sister. From your job. I'm talking about the lies you told. The people you hurt. The family you destroyed. I didn't destroy anything. You did, Marco. You destroyed my trust. You destroyed your father's health. You destroyed Daniela's faith in this family. And I let you. I let you because I was scared. Scared of losing you. Scared of admitting I failed. But I'm not scared anymore. Mom, you're not making sense. I'm making perfect sense. You're just not used to hearing it. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to get help. Rehab. Therapy. Whatever it takes. You're going to get a job. A real job. You're going to pay back every dollar you stole. And until you do, you're not welcome in this house. You're not welcome in this family. You can't do that. I can. And I am. Your father agrees. She looked at my father. He nodded. This is your chance, Marco. One chance. Don't waste it. She hung up. The room was quiet. My mother was crying. My father was staring at the ceiling. I was standing by the window, looking out at the parking lot. That was hard, my mother said. It was necessary, I said. Do you think he'll change? I don't know, Mom. That's up to him. Not you. Not anymore. My father was discharged after 10 days. He walked out of the hospital on his own 2 feet. Slow. Careful. But standing. He hugged me in the parking lot. A real hug. The kind he used to give me when I was little and fell off my bike. Thank you for coming, he said. Thank you for not dying. I'll try to keep that up. My mother hugged me too. Shorter. Awkward. But real. Come home, she said. For dinner. Next Sunday. I'll make your favorite. Arroz con pollo. Arroz con pollo. I'll think about it. That's not a no. That's not a yes either. But it's something. I drove back to Fresno that afternoon. Tia Rosa was waiting for me on her balcony, watering her plants. How are they? She asked. Broken. But maybe fixable. And you? I'm still here. That's all that matters. The Sunday dinner invitation hung over me for an entire week. I said I would think about it. And I did. I thought about it every day. In the shower. At work. In bed at night, staring at the ceiling, listening to my roommates argue about whose turn it was to take out the trash. Going back to that house meant something. It meant opening a door I had closed 2 years ago. It meant sitting at that table again. The same table where my father had locked me out. The same table where my mother had chosen Marco over me. The same table where I had laid out the bank statements and watched my family crumble. Tia Rosa gave me her opinion whether I asked for it or not. You should go. Not for them. For you. So you can see how far you've come. What if it's a trap? What if they're just trying to get me back so they can use me again? Then you walk out. You have a car. You have a job. You have a life. They can't take any of that from you anymore. She was right. I wasn't the same person who slept in a CVS parking lot. I wasn't the same person who begged for scraps of attention. I had built something. Not a mansion. A small, sturdy house made of boundaries and self-respect. And I could always leave. I drove to Bakersfield on Sunday morning. I left early. Too early. I was nervous. My hands were sweating on the steering wheel. I stopped for gas twice even though I didn't need it. I was stalling. The yellow house on Cedar Street looked smaller than I remembered. The paint was peeling. The porch swing was gone. The lawn was overgrown. My father hadn't been able to keep up with the yard work since the heart attack. My mother didn't know how to use the lawnmower. Marco certainly wasn't going to do it. I sat in my car for 10 minutes, just looking at it. This was the house where I learned to walk. Where I learned to read. Where I learned that I didn't matter as much as my brother. Where I learned to be small. Where I learned to be invisible. I got out of the car. I walked to the front door. I knocked. My mother opened it. She was wearing an apron. The same apron she had worn on Thanksgiving. Blue with white flowers. She had flour on her hands. She had been cooking. You came. I said I might. Y me da arroz con pollo. Just like I promised. I can smell it. She stepped aside. I walked in. The house smelled different. Not bad. Just different. Like something had been cleaned that hadn't been cleaned in years. Like someone had tried to erase the past with bleach and lemon spray. The living room was the same. Same couch. Same television. Same family photos on the wall. But some of the photos were missing. The ones with Marco. The ones where he was holding a trophy or graduating or standing in front of a car my parents couldn't afford. My father was sitting in his recliner. He looked better than he had in the hospital. Some color had returned to his face. He was wearing a clean shirt. His hair was combed. He stood up when he saw me. Slowly. Carefully. He was still healing. Daniela. Dad. He walked to me. He hugged me. Not the awkward hospital hug. A real hug. With both arms. With his whole body. Thank you for coming. Thank you for inviting me. You don't have to thank me for that. You should have been invited a long time ago. He let go. He looked at my mother. She looked at the floor. Dinner will be ready in 20 minutes, she said. You can wait in the living room. Or you can come help me in the kitchen. If you want. An invitation. Not an order. Not a demand. An invitation. I'll help. The kitchen was the same. Same cabinets. Same countertops. Same window over the sink where I used to stare out while doing dishes, dreaming of somewhere else. My mother was stirring the rice. I washed my hands at the sink. You don't have to do that, she said. I know. I mean it. You're a guest. You don't have to work. I'm not a guest, Mom. I'm your daughter. And I'm choosing to help. There's a difference. She nodded. She understood. Or she was trying to. How is your job? She asked. It's a job. I'm still at the diner. But I'm taking classes. Business administration. I didn't know that. You didn't ask. She winced. You're right. I didn't. I am sorry. You said that already. At the hospital. I know. But I need to keep saying it. Until it means something. It will mean something when you show me. Not when you say it. She stirred the rice. I chopped onions. The kitchen filled with the smell of garlic and cumin. The same smells from my childhood. The same smells from every Sunday dinner I had ever eaten. Is Marco coming? I asked. I don't know. Did you invite him? Yes. He said he would try. That means no. Probably. Mom, why do you still do this to yourself? Why do you still leave the door open for someone who only walks through it to take things? She put down the spoon. She turned to face me. Because he's my son. And I failed him. I failed him by protecting him. I failed him by not making him face consequences. I failed him by treating him like he was special when he was just broken. And I keep hoping that if I leave the door open, he'll walk through it as the person he should have been. He won't, Mom. He's not going to change because you want him to. He's only going to change if he wants to. And so far he's shown no interest. I know. But I'm not ready to close the door yet. That's your choice. But don't expect me to stand next to you while he walks through it. I don't expect anything from you anymore, Daniela. That's what I've learned. I spent years expecting you to be the responsible one, the helpful one, the one who didn't complain. And you were. You were all of those things. And I took it for granted. I won't make that mistake again. I didn't know if I believed her. But I wanted to. God, I wanted to. Dinner was at 2 p.m. The table was set. Not with the good china. Just the regular plates. The ones we used every day. My mother had made enough food for 10 people. Arroz con pollo. Black beans. Plantains. A salad that no one would eat. My father sat at the head of the table. My mother sat to his right. I sat to his left. The spot where Marco usually sat. Should we wait for him? My mother asked. No, my father said. We've waited long enough. We ate. The conversation was awkward at first. Small talk. The weather. The neighbor's new dog. A show my mother had been watching on Netflix. Nothing important. Nothing painful. Then my father put down his fork. Daniela, tell us about your classes. What do you want to know? Everything. What are you studying? What do you want to do with it? Are you happy? Are you happy? No one had ever asked me that before. Not like that. Not like they actually wanted the answer. I'm studying business administration. I want to manage something. A restaurant. An office. I don't know yet. I just want to be in charge of something. I've spent my whole life being told what to do. I want to be the one who decides. That makes sense, he said. You were always the one who kept things organized. You kept this house running. You could run a business. I'm trying. You're not trying. You're doing. There's a difference. My mother was quiet. She was pushing her rice around her plate, not eating. Mom, what's wrong? Nothing. I'm listening. I'm trying to learn how to listen. It's not that hard. You just don't interrupt. She almost smiled. Almost. The doorbell rang at 3:15 p.m. We were still at the table. My mother had just brought out coffee and flan. My father was telling a story about a job site. A story I had heard before. But I didn't mind. It was nice to hear his voice without anger in it. My mother looked at the door. Then at me. Then at my father. Are you expecting anyone? He asked. No. She went to answer it. I heard voices. My mother's. And another one. A voice I knew. A voice I had heard 1,000 times. A voice that had lied to me, stolen from me, and never apologized. Marco. My mother walked back into the dining room. Behind her, looking like he hadn't slept in weeks, was my brother. He looked terrible. Tia Rosa wasn't exaggerating. He had lost weight. A lot of weight. His clothes hung off him like they belonged to someone else. His eyes were red. His hands were shaking. He smelled like cheap cologne trying to cover up something worse. Marco, my father said. His voice was flat. Dad. I came. I can see that. I wanted to see you. After the hospital. I should have come. I know I should have come. Yes. You should have. Marco looked at me. His eyes moved over my face like he was seeing me for the first time. Hey Daniela. Marco. You look good. I am good. I heard you're taking classes. That's great. Thanks. He stood there. Awkward. Lost. Waiting for someone to invite him to sit down. No one did. Marco. My mother said finally. Sit down. I'll get you a plate. Mom. My father started. He's our son Hector. He's at our table. We don't turn away our children. We turned away Daniela. The room went silent. My mother looked at my father. My father looked at Marco. Marco looked at the floor. That was different, my mother whispered. It wasn't different, Carmen. It was exactly the same. We chose Marco over Daniela. We did it for years. And we're still doing it. He shows up late, looking like he hasn't showered in days, and you're already getting him a plate. When was the last time you got Daniela a plate? My mother didn't answer. I'll get my own plate, Marco said. It's fine. It's not fine, my father said. None of this is fine. But we're here. And we're going to talk. Really talk. No more hiding. No more pretending. Marco sat down. In the chair across from me. The chair where Tia Rosa had sat on Thanksgiving. The chair where the truth had been laid out like a dead body. I'm sorry, Marco said. I know that doesn't mean much. I know I've said it before. But I'm saying it now. I'm sorry. For everything. What are you sorry for, Marco? I asked. Be specific. He looked at me. His eyes were wet. I'm sorry for stealing from Mom and Dad. I'm sorry for stealing from you. I'm sorry for lying. I'm sorry for letting you take the blame. I'm sorry for not coming to the hospital. I'm sorry for being a coward. I'm sorry for being a thief. I'm sorry for being a bad brother. I'm sorry for being a bad son. I'm sorry for every single thing. That's a lot of sorries. I have a lot to be sorry for. What are you going to do about it? I'm going to rehab. I already called. I'm going to a place in Bakersfield. 30 days. Inpatient. I start next week. I looked at my mother. She was crying. Quietly. The way she cried at the hospital. And after rehab? I asked. I'm going to get a job. A real job. Not the dealership. Something else. I'm going to pay back every dollar I stole. Every single one. Even if it takes years. How are you going to do that if you have a record? I'm not going to have a record. What do you mean? He looked at my father. My father nodded. The dealership isn't pressing charges, Marco said. They agreed to let me resign. No charges. No record. On one condition. What condition? I pay back the money. All of it. Plus interest. $23,000. Within 2 years. Do you have $23,000? No. Then how are you going to pay it back? I'm going to sell the car. The BMW. It's worth about 15. The rest. I'll figure it out. The BMW. The car he bought with money he didn't have. The car he used to impress people who didn't care. The car that was worth more than my education. You should have sold it years ago, I said. I know. You should have done a lot of things years ago. I know. So why should I believe you now? He looked at me. Really looked. Not like he was performing. Not like he was trying to win an argument. Like he was standing in front of a mirror and seeing himself for the first time. Because I have nothing left, he said. No money. No job. No girlfriend. No friends who actually like me. Just my family. And I'm about to lose them too if I don't change. That's not a reason. That's a threat. It's not a threat. It's the truth. I hit bottom, Daniela. I didn't even know I was falling. But I hit it. And now I'm looking up. And I see you. Standing at the top. Looking down at me. And I don't blame you if you don't want to help me climb. I just need you to know that I'm trying. I didn't say anything for a long time. The clock ticked. The flan sat on the table, untouched. My mother wiped her eyes with a napkin. My father stared at his coffee. I'm not going to help you, Marco, I said finally. I'm not going to give you money. I'm not going to drive you anywhere. I'm not going to make phone calls for you. I'm not going to be your safety net. I've been that person. And it almost killed me. I'm not asking you to. Then what are you asking? I'm asking you to not close the door. Just leave it open a crack. So I can see the light. So I know there's a way back. I thought about the CVS parking lot. The rain. The cold. The way I felt when no one came for me. I'll leave the door open, I said. But I'm not going to stand in the doorway. You have to walk through it yourself. That's fair. It's more than fair. It's more than you ever gave me. He nodded. He didn't argue. He didn't defend himself. He just sat there, in his too big clothes with his shaking hands, and accepted what I said. It was the first time I had ever seen him accept anything. Dinner ended quietly. Marco helped clear the table. Not because anyone asked him to. Because he didn't know what else to do. He stacked plates. He carried them to the kitchen. He stood at the sink, staring at the water, like he was trying to remember how to be useful. My mother made coffee. Real coffee. Not the instant stuff. She ground the beans herself. She measured the water. She waited for it to brew. I used to do this for your father every morning, she said. Before he got sick. Before everything. I stopped when he got sick. I don't know why. You were tired, I said. I was tired. And scared. And I didn't know how to ask for help. You still don't. I'm learning. She poured 3 cups. 1 for me. 1 for my father. 1 for herself. What about Marco? I asked. He doesn't drink coffee. He never did. That's not what I meant. She looked at me. I'm not going to forget what he did. But I'm not going to punish him forever either. He's my son. And he's trying. He's trying now. But he's tried before. And every time you bailed him out. Every time, you made it easier for him to fail again. I know. That's why I'm not bailing him out this time. He's going to rehab. He's selling the car. He's getting a job. He's doing it himself. I'm just watching. From a distance. Can you do that? Can you really watch him fail without stepping in? I don't know. But I'm going to try. We drank our coffee in the kitchen. The 3 of us. My mother, my father, and me. Marco was in the living room, sitting on the couch, staring at the television that wasn't on. It's strange, I said. Seeing him like this. Like what? Small. He used to take up so much space. In the house. In the family. In my head. Now he looks like a ghost. That's what happens when you lose everything, my father said. You become a ghost. The question is whether you can become a person again. I left at 6 p.m. The sun was setting. The sky was orange and pink. The kind of sunset that makes you believe in second chances. My father walked me to my car. Slowly. Carefully. His heart was still healing. Thank you for coming, he said. Thank you for inviting me. Will you come back? Next Sunday? I'll make the arroz con pollo next time. Your mother's cooking is good, but mine is better. I laughed. First real laugh of the day. I'll come back. But I'm not promising every Sunday. I have a life. In Fresno. I know. That's what I'm most proud of. What? That you built a life. Without us. Without anyone's help. You did that. And I had nothing to do with it. That's why I'm proud. Because it's all yours. I hugged him. Tight. Longer than I meant to. I love you, Dad. I love you too, Mija. I always did. I just didn't show it. I'll try to do better. That's all I'm asking. I got in my car. I started the engine. I drove away. In my rearview mirror, I watched my father stand in the driveway, watching me go. He raised his hand. A small wave. I raised mine back. A year passed. Not a perfect year. Not a healing year. A real year. With setbacks and silences and small, stubborn steps forward. Marco went to rehab. 30 days inpatient. He came out looking less like a ghost and more like a tired man who had finally stopped running. He moved into a sober living house in Bakersfield. 6 men. Curfews. Group therapy. Random drug tests. He hated every minute of it. But he stayed. He sold the BMW. $15,000. Every penny went to the dealership. He still owed $8,000. He got a job at a warehouse. Minimum wage. Stacking boxes. His hands bled through his gloves the first week. He didn't complain. Not once. My mother didn't bail him out. She wanted to. I could see it in her eyes every time he called. Every time he said he was tired. Every time he said he didn't know if he could do it. She wanted to drive to his house with groceries and money and a hug. But she didn't. It's killing her. My father told me on the phone one night. It's supposed to. That's what growth feels like. For all of you. You're cold sometimes, you know that? I'm not cold, Dad. I'm Kerfel. There's a difference. He was quiet for a moment. You're right. I'm sorry. You don't have to apologize for everything anymore. Just don't lie to me. About anything. That's all I ask. I won't. I kept my job at the diner. But I also got a promotion. Not a big one. Shift supervisor. An extra $2 an hour. And the privilege of telling the teenage dishwashers to put their phones away. I kept taking classes. 2 per semester. Slow. Steady. My GPA was 3.6. I had a professor who told me I should consider transferring to a 4-year school. A real one. With a campus and a library and students who weren't just killing time. You're too smart for this place, she said. I've been too smart for a lot of places. That's never stopped me before. Maybe it should. I thought about it. For weeks. The idea of leaving Fresno. Of going somewhere new. Of being a full-time student instead of a full-time waitress who took classes on the side. Tia Rosa was all for it. Go. Run. Don't look back. I'll water your plant. I don't have a plant. Then get one. And I'll water it. My father recovered. Slowly. He went to cardiac rehab 3 times a week. He stopped eating red meat. He started walking every morning. A mile. Then 2. Then 3. He called me every Sunday. Not because my mother told him to. Because he wanted to. How was your week? He would ask. And I would tell him. Not everything. But enough. Enough to feel like he was listening. Enough to feel like he cared. My mother didn't call as often. But when she did, the conversations were different. Shorter. Less demanding. She asked about my life instead of telling me about hers. I'm proud of you, she said once. Out of nowhere. In the middle of a conversation about the weather. For what? For surviving. For not becoming me. I didn't know what to say to that. So I said nothing. But I wrote it down later. In a notebook I kept next to my bed. The notebook where I wrote down the things I wanted to remember. Thanksgiving came again. 1 year since I had slept in my car. 1 year since my father locked the door. 1 year since my family chose Marco over me. My mother invited me to dinner. Not a demand. An invitation. With a question mark at the end. You don't have to come. But we would like you to. Marco will be there. He's been sober for 8 months. He's different. Quieter. He wants to see you. Does he want to see me? Or does he want something from me? I think he just wants to see you. But you'll have to decide that for yourself. I thought about it for a week. I talked to Tia Rosa. I talked to my therapist. I talked to myself in the mirror at 2 a.m. when I couldn't sleep. What are you afraid of? My therapist asked. That nothing has changed. That I'll walk in there and they'll all be the same. And I'll be the same. And I'll end up back in my car. You won't end up in your car. You have an apartment. You have a job. You have a life. They can't take those things away from you anymore. I know. But the fear is still there. The fear that I'm still invisible. You're not invisible. You're just afraid of being seen. She was right. She usually was. That's why I paid her. I went to Thanksgiving. Not because I wanted to, because I needed to prove something to myself. That I could walk into that house and not disappear. That I could sit at that table and not become the help. That I could look my brother in the eye and not feel small. I drove to Bakersfield on Thursday morning. The rain from the year before was gone. The sky was clear. Cold. Blue. The kind of day that makes you believe in fresh starts. My mother opened the door before I knocked. You came. I said I would. I didn't think you would. Neither did I. She hugged me. A real hug. Not the awkward hospital hug. Not the apologetic hug. A hug like she meant it. Thank you, she whispered. Don't thank me yet. Dinner hasn't started. The house looked different. Not physically. The same walls. The same furniture. The same photos on the wall. But something had shifted. The air was lighter. The silence wasn't heavy anymore. My father was in the kitchen. Cooking. He had an apron on. The same blue apron my mother used to wear. He was stirring something on the stove. Daniela. You're here. I'm here. Good. Come help me with the gravy. Your mother can't make gravy to save her life. Hector. My mother called from the living room. It's true. You know it's true. I laughed. I couldn't help it. I walked into the kitchen. I tied on an apron. I stood next to my father at the stove. You look good, Dad. I feel good. Tired. But good. The walking. 3 miles a day. I'm thinking about 4. Don't push it. That's what your mother says. That's what the doctor says. That's what everyone says. But no one ever pushed themselves to mediocrity. Did you just quote yourself? I'm quotable. We made gravy together. It was too salty. Neither of us said anything. Marco arrived at 1 p.m. He walked through the front door without knocking. He was carrying a pie. Pumpkin. Store-bought. But he was carrying it. He looked better than he had at the Sunday dinner. Healthier. His clothes fit. His hands weren't shaking. His eyes were clear. Daniela. Marco. You came. Everyone keeps saying that. Because we keep being surprised. He set the pie on the counter. He stood there, awkward, not sure what to do with his hands. I brought a pie. I know it's store-bought. I don't know how to bake. Neither do I. Really? I thought you knew how to do everything. I know how to do a lot of things. Baking isn't one of them. He almost smiled. Almost. How are you? He asked. I'm good. How are you? I'm okay. Some days are harder than others. But I'm okay. 8 months. 8 months and 11 days. That's a long time. It's not long enough. But it's a start. We stood there. 2 siblings who had spent years hurting each other. Standing in a kitchen. Not hugging. Not crying. Just standing. I'm sorry, he said. You already said that. I know. But I need to keep saying it. Until you believe me. I believe that you're sorry. I don't know if that's enough yet. It doesn't have to be. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm just asking for a chance to show you that I can be different. You're getting that chance. Right now. Standing in this kitchen. Holding a store-bought pie. That's all I want. Dinner was at 3 p.m. The table was full. My father at the head. My mother to his right. Me to his left. Marco next to me. The spot where I used to sit. The spot where no one wanted to sit. Now it was his. My mother had made turkey. My father had made gravy. Marco had brought pie. I had brought nothing. I was learning to receive instead of give. We ate. We talked. Small talk at first. Then bigger talk. I'm thinking about transferring, I said. To a 4-year school. Maybe UC Davis. Or Fresno State. Somewhere with a real campus. That's wonderful, my mother said. Can you afford it? My father asked. I've been saving. And I applied for scholarships. I might need some help. But I don't want help from you. Not money help. I want you to be proud of me. That's all. We are proud of you, my mother said. You never said it. Not once. Not until recently. I know. I'm saying it now. I'm proud of you, Daniela. I'm proud of the person you've become. I'm proud that you did it without us. I'm proud that you survived. I looked at her. Really looked. She was crying. Not the performance tears. The real ones. Thank you, Mom. You don't have to thank me. I'm the one who should be thanking you for giving me another chance. After dinner, Marco and I washed dishes together. Not because anyone asked us to, because we didn't know what else to do. Because standing at the sink, elbow deep in soapy water, was the only place where we could be alone without it being awkward. Remember when we were kids? He asked. Not really. I remember you being mean. I was mean. I was jealous. Of what? Of you. You were smarter than me. You were kinder than me. Everyone liked you. Teachers. Neighbors. Our cousins. And I couldn't stand it. So I made you small. So I could feel big. That's a lot of self-awareness for a guy who used to put spiders in my bed. He laughed. A real laugh. I forgot about the spiders. I didn't. I'm sorry about the spiders too. That's the least of what you should be sorry for. I know. We washed dishes in silence for a while. The water was hot. The soap smelled like lemons. The window above the sink looked out at the backyard. The grass was overgrown. The fence was falling down. But the sky was blue. Do you think we'll ever be close? He asked. I don't know. I don't think closeness is something you can force. It's something that happens. Or it doesn't. Do you want it to happen? I want to stop being angry. That's the first step. The rest, we'll see. That's fair. Stop saying that. What? That's fair. You say it every time I set a boundary. Like you're agreeing to terms and conditions. I don't know what else to say. You don't have to say anything. Just be here. Show up. Do the work. That's all I'm asking. I can do that. We'll see. I left at 7 p.m. The sun had set. The sky was dark. The stars were out. The kind of stars you can only see in Bakersfield when the smog clears. My father walked me to my car. Same as last time. But this time, my mother came too. And Marco. Thank you for coming, my father said. Thank you for having me. Next year? My mother asked. Ask me next year. That's not a no. That's not a yes either. Marco stepped forward. He held out his hand. Not for a hug. For a handshake. I looked at his hand. Then at his face. A handshake. I don't want to push. A hug feels like pushing. A handshake feels like respect. I took his hand. We shook. His grip was firm. Not too tight. Not too loose. Just right. See you around, Marco. See you around, Daniela. I got in my car. I started the engine. I drove away. In my rearview mirror, I watched them stand in the driveway. My father with his hand on my mother's shoulder. My mother with her arms crossed. Marco with his hands in his pockets. They looked like a family. Not the family I wished for. Not the family I deserved. But a family that was trying. And for now, that was enough. Here's what I want you to know. If you're watching this and you see yourself in my story, the one who was kicked out, the one who was blamed, the one who was made invisible, hear me. You are not what they said you were. You are not the problem. You are not the burden. You are not the one who needs to apologize. You are the one who survived. And survival is not pretty. It's not clean. It's not a Hall movie where everyone holds hands at the end. Survival is messy. It's lonely. It's years of therapy in bad apartments and crying in parking lots. But survival is also yours. No one can take it from you. Not the parents who chose someone else. Not the sibling who stole from you. Not the family who locked the door. You survived. And that is the only revenge that matters. My name is Daniela Reyes. I'm 30 years old. I don't have a perfect family. I don't have a happy ending. But I have a life. A real one. Built with my own hands. And no one, not my mother, not my father, not Marco, not anyone, can take that away from me. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever been the one who was kicked out, the one who was blamed, the one who had to start over, leave a comment. Tell me, what did you survive? Thank you for listening. I'll see you next time.